nice to arrive at Tosca, a favorite.
Lovely Tosca in Hingham.
Lovely Tosca in Hingham. And to have food on the table, that's excellent. Welcoming of you, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. So I just wanted to come in here, and of course always enjoy great food here, but just chat with you about, I mean, Tosca's been around for a good many years.
Yep, coming up, to almost 30 years. We'll round up, we'll say 30.
Oh, and I've been 30, and you've been here a good portion of that.
Yeah, been here a lot.
Yeah. So were you the first chef that Tosca had, or?
No, but I've
You're the longest.
the longest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many total years do you have here?
Oh, geez, coming up on about 20.
20 years. And did you start as a chef here?
No, I started on the bottom of the rung here, which is interesting. So many people in this long-term group, Eat Well Incorporated, have a lot of people have come from, entry level up, that are the important people in the business.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of nice, I think, too, in a restaurant, have worked other jobs so that one appreciates all of the roles. Because in a restaurant, you really need ensemble work. You really do. And I think having an idea of what a server does and what a sous chef does and what the front of the house and back of the house.
The business is, in my opinion, is overly romanticized. Yeah. And there's so many people out there and say, "Oh, I'd love to have a restaurant," but part of the problem is that there is that element of there's so much hard work, and it's pleasing the public, and it's volume, so yeah, you gotta be able to hold your own.
Yeah, exactly. You have how many seats do you have here? How many people at night? How many parties can you do?
I mean, it varies because we have 3 rooms, and so the main dining room is a little over 100 seats, but it's essentially it's a very large restaurant. And
Yeah.
a lot of people nowadays either go, bigger, really enormous,
Right.
or there's a lot very popular right now for people to do these kind of smaller places. So for us to be a suburban neighborhood place,
Right.
we're large.
Yeah. And so speaking of that suburban neighborhood, think back 30 years ago before Tosca was here. What was the food scene, the South Shore food scene?
Well, the food scene was varied in developing, and Tosca is always a sort of a front runner.
Yeah.
In I know a lot of the stuff. I was here in the 3rd year that they were open, and a lot of those roots of the original inspiration, which everything changes, especially over 27, 28 years. So a lot of that original inspiration was still alive here and hadn't necessarily changed. So there's a lot of that early 90s, sort of like late 80s, early 90s California inspired, Cal Italian, which you don't even hear that anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But that was a term that was like really out there at that time, and there was a lot of places that did that sort of cuisine, that sort of interpretive thing, which is fun because part of it has really stuck with me, that inspiration. And we are a sizable restaurant, so it is hard to do your farm to table thing. So it's really been sort of something that's been a hybrid of what it's the long version again, but it's really been kind of a hybrid of my inspiration on what to do here is really balance, and source the products, and try to do the local thing, which everyone says.
Yeah.
But it's actually very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
and execute, especially on a larger format. So that's been a pretty big dedication of, what we've tried to do with the cuisine here.
Yeah. So are the oysters local?
Yep, the oysters are local from
Can I have one?
Barnstable. Yeah, of course.
Those are Barnstable?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to have one. Yeah. So what's this room called? You said this is one of the rooms. I know you have a couple rooms here.
Yeah. So this is the wine room, which is very interesting because this is a private lockers, which I feel like everybody has sort of heard about now, and is one of those things that people have their own bins, can order their own proprietary wines, and then they're ready for them when they come in. And basically this is also available for private events. and is, in the same finish as the rest of the dining room, with the, very cool kind of
Old world a little.
yeah, a
out
little
here.
bit of old world, but it's being, this room is actually over 25 years old and is really held up. It's still very beautiful.
Yeah. And what was it originally? Was it a granary?
The building was a granary. I think it was 1902, I think is the year. It's on the front of the building. I forget now. I used to have that committed to memory, though.
Yeah. And are there vestiges still?
Yeah, there's some linkage that is still in the ceilings. It's a little hard to pick out now, but
Huh. Now I've heard music here too. I've come when there's a one or two, sometimes
Yep.
three-piece
yeah,
musicians here.
over the years we've definitely had a lot of music in this room. This was originally not only the wine room. This was a cigar room, which that is
That's
that's a
poo-pooed.
piece of history now.
A little poo-pooed right now.
Mm.
Yeah, indoors anyway. Interesting. And so this is one of the pizzas that you serve?
Yep. So a couple of the staples here. Caesar salad. We really choose to do the Caesar salad. Everybody carries a Caesar salad, but we really think we do it right.
Yeah. And so what's the secret ingredient there?
With the dressing,
The dressing.
for sure. Yeah. But everything.
Mm.
I mean, as the atypical Caesar salad that everybody has, we're trying to do it right. So it's really a lot of work, and we put a lot of work into the blend of cheese that goes into that,
Yeah.
and a lot of details in the balance and the
Proprietary.
right down to the texture of the grind and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You hear people on all these TV shows, and they get interviewed, and specific ingredients this and that, and I spend a lot of time worrying about specific ingredients and the way that the cheese kind of melts in your mouth, and the texture of
Right.
it as it melts on the pasta, and so on and so forth. So
So they aren't just words. They're it's
no, I
it's-
actually do a lot of this, and a lot of it ties into the purchasing. And then the bread, we have our own bakery, so the croutons are consistent, and they're made in house, and they're the right texture and the right crunch and the right bread, the right olive oil. It's funny to say it because I actually spend a ton of time thinking about all this. So then, kind of back to our roots and some serious longevity is the pizzas, and you could see that's a pretty cool looking pizza.
Yeah, that looks delicious.
So this is a white pizza with tomatoes. So beautiful ripe tomatoes kind of sliced on there, blended with the different cheeses. This is personally one of my favorites. So we've gone kind of rustic with the staples here. So a little locality, and then some of the staple kind of dishes that I think are iconic to this restaurant that's been here for close to 3 decades.
Yeah. And what do you consider the cuisine?
We're I used to define it a little bit more, but it's really sort of its own kind of Tosca thing. We're Italian at the roots, which is dining in Italy is a much different experience. So we have that sort of modified, an Americanized aspect of it, where it's really kind of what Tosca does. Like if you were going to do a real Neapolitan style pizza, it might look like this, but you'd have a little thicker crust. We have a little thinner crust that
Right.
cook in less than 3 minutes. So they don't necessarily travel as well, but you can. They're not as heavy, so you get a little lighter, and that's
Yeah, that's
unique.
how I like it.
That's unique to kind of what we do. Is you get a little toastiness on the crust. It's not a huge crust, and you get some of the wood oven on the bottom. Caesar salad originally invented in Mexico, but now is known as the
Oh, really? In Mexico?
You've never read that one?
No.
Yeah, it
Was that
famously invented in Mexico and developed by a famous chef at a resort down there.
Really? Wow.
Now you're making me nervous, but I know it's Mexico. And it's just one of those funny things. You think of it as the Italian salad, and
Right.
it is not.
Now, I bet you have customers who come in for certain staples on the menu that have been here for a long time that you cannot get rid of. but you also invite new things. Tell me about like your menu. How does it change? Does it change seasonally, or do you have things that are
I'll tell you,
staples or new things?
I'll tell you, the dirty word is specials,
Yes.
and it's we try, everybody's over the years we try to say menu additions and so on and
Right.
so forth, but we do rotate through, and it's actually I've opened a lot of restaurants, and in my time in and out and around Tosca and stuff, and what is absolutely amazing is how much of those sort of daily items that we sell here.
Yeah.
That is a huge, and part of it is that
You mean like local favorites?
no, there's staples on the menu that are mainstays that people revolt
Yeah.
if we take off the menu.
Right.
But we do try to bring in our products that are different. So like right now, for instance, like we're running duck tonight. We don't have duck on the menu all the time, and people love it. People will actually ask for what is available just for the day, and it's a great way to go through. It's a great way to go through different fish, especially local fish or very limited season fish.
Right.
And that is one of those things that at certain times in business we've actually sold food sales upwards over 35% of those items that are basically daily items. So it literally might only be one service
Wow.
that we sell. So it's other restaurants do not do that.
Yeah.
Here is one of those things, and it's accredited to the team and the creativity and the wait staff really spending time verbalizing those items.
Right. Yeah, one of the things I know about your wait staff, having just dined here several times, and your broccoli rabe is just so delicious. I just love that.
We would have a lot of broccoli rabe on the menu right now.
Yeah, I
'Tis the
absolutely love
season.
it. Well, you guys do it really well. I love it. But your wait staff's always just super professional and super detail oriented and really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
they're
nice
great, and
yeah.
they work hard.
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable dining experience here. Just the atmosphere is great. So you have great food, you have great service, and you have, great history, longevity,
Great setting.
atmosphere, great setting. I mean, that's a recipe for 30 years and more.
Yeah, we're looking towards more right now.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah. So speaking of more, are you doing something at the bathing beach?
Oh yeah, this is
So
the most
is this
hotly anticipated project I've ever worked on.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did the idea start? Was it your idea? This is what you're going to do. You just one day woke up and said, you know what? I think I'll do a little side thing over here. Like what?
No. This is the ownership has cut a deal with the town, so that we're putting in the beach house, which is primarily going to be an ice cream shop and your sort of traditional walk-up clams and burgers, fried
Okay.
clams
So
and burgers.
good beach food, just easy beach food.
Beach food, walk-up service, unbelievably beautiful building that is going to have some private event space in it.
That's great.
We're just putting the finishing touches now on getting it up and running, getting the kitchen finished, selecting the ice creams, which everybody just thinks this is the most magical job in the world.
Are you going to make your own ice creams?
We're not going to be
you
making
have
them,
somebody-
but I just was having this conversation
Yeah.
the other day with my wife, and I just think that if I was going to start it over, I would just have done it different. I would make them,
Yeah.
but maybe that's down the road.
Yeah.
But no, we're working with
You're
it.
already starting over before you started.
Yeah, I know. So the project has been
Yeah.
in development for many years with
Yeah.
the town, and it's passed through a couple different hands in the group here, and I've inherited executing this. So it's I think it's gonna really exceed expectations, just in the fact that like coming into Tosca, you're really coming into a very beautiful place, and we're really putting it out there with the ice cream shop to make it great. I mean, as much as you could say an ice cream place, it's
Yeah.
when the fixtures and the fittings and stuff are right, and we're really trying to make it a showpiece and a fun part of the community, because people are very excited about it.
Oh,
and
I can imagine.
They're waiting.
It's been needed for a really long
They're-
time, and
they're ready.
to have you guys behind it, and the restaurant group behind it is, it's going to be good.
There's the pressure
Yeah.
building right there.
Now, did you know that you were always going to be a chef? Were you one of those kids who plate in the kitchen, and you had a grandmother or somebody in there
Yeah.
feeding you raw cookie dough or whatever.
I mean, I've answered these questions a lot of times.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of different ways about it. It's actually kind of funny. It's like,
Do I only get the truth, the true scoop?
I only
You've answered
give
it.
you the truth. In our limited time together here, you get the truth. You seem very amused by it. So, I really love cooking because I really find it the only truly creative thing that I can do. So, when you're young and you try to figure that stuff out,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was not made for music, singing, or playing an instrument. When they say, I don't even know when that is, but they say, oh, well, you'd be interested in playing an instrument?
Right.
No. Like it just
think
is
it's
never going to happen.
Usually
for
around
me.
5th grade, I think, is when they
Yeah, it didn't work out.
recorder
for
or
me.
trumpet or yeah.
And then, I always had an interest in drafting and drawing and just anything. Like I love that sort of stuff. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I try too, and it's just horrible.
Yeah.
So I've always found it very interesting, and it's sort of a blessing and a curse to me because then I've always been sort of very conscious of the balance of the business aspect of it too. So I've never been one of those chefs that just throws stuff together and it's great, and I've always sort of had to weigh both sides of it. Because you need to make a living, and
Right.
it's a tough business
Yeah.
to sort of do it. So that's one aspect of it, is the creative end that I really love. And there's the other aspect of it too, is that my mother is a wonderful cook, and she can do everything. She can bake.
Yeah. Now she's Swedish? Or
No,
your grandmother?
that's
other
my
side?
grandmother was Swedish.
Okay.
That's I could. You don't have a long enough show to tell you that story, but my dad is also a great cook, and I grew up with they would both cook.
Yeah.
So I learned how to make dinner at night with them,
Yeah.
and we would all kind of cook together, and I learned different things. My mother was always a recipe follower. I think nowadays she's a little less
Yeah.
so. But my mother was sort of like, measuring stuff out and planning ahead and this and that. My father had cooked for years when he was younger, like teenage into his like 20s. And he had done some work in some restaurants and stuff in
Oh,
those
really?
years. So he
Okay.
had a little knowledge of that different cuisine and had a different approach. And then we always just loved the eating.
Yeah.
We picked mushrooms as a family.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that
grew up
sounds cool.
doing that. That
Yeah.
was every September, early October, we would get
That's one
together.
thing I've been
and
wanting to do.
I've heard, I know. And we would, the whole family would go out and pick mushrooms together, and we'd fry them up and sort them and clean them and
Yeah.
freeze them
Yeah.
and everything. So, it was always an interest of mine. So,
Do you remember ever cooking them a meal and having it be like the first meal that you cook for your family?
Oh, I was cooking that. I was doing that
Early, like
pretty young,
like
yeah.
9, 8?
Teenagers,
Oh,
like
yeah.
early, maybe even younger, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what the first meal was that you
No,
made?
I don't remember specifically. I mean, what they loved was it's another dish that I still love. It's like basically like you do like a chicken, like they used to call it like a chicken bragiolatini type of thing. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
So it was like a chicken breast, like stuffed with like cheese and prosciutto
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff,
yes.
and then it was like a kind of marsala sauce. I still love that one.
Yeah.
I would I would make that one, and my parents I would make that when I was like in my teen years.
Yeah, and they'd rave.
At home. Yeah, well, it came
Yeah.
out pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good.
And I'm sure you're very critical of your own work too.
Unbelievably
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Horrifyingly so. I'm terrible.
But it had to be creative, no matter what the career was. It had to be creative. It just turned out this is where it really, really took off for you, because this is where
Yeah,
you really
I
shined.
like the creative, and the one word I always loved is interesting.
Yeah.
I like the interest. Like
Yes.
it's just like, it's like all the stuff we've been talking about. It's like the backstory. You know.
Right. Yeah. What's the job that you just can't imagine yourself doing? Like
Oh my God.
every other job.
Mostly, but getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like I couldn't imagine it,
Yeah.
and I've done it. I mean, there has been times where I've had to do it.
Yeah.
you know, God bless the people that drive into Boston every day in the traffic, and, you know, the rush hour.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing.
That's my
just a,
that's my nightmare.
Yeah, I definitely would get into podcasts or something if I had to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're from the South Shore?
Yep.
Yeah. Rockland?
Rockland, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I 40 years or so in Rockland.
Have you ever
yeah.
lived outside of the South Shore?
No,
No?
no.
Yeah. What do you
I've
think it
often
is?
thought about it, and I just didn't. This is home.
Yeah.
My sister moved away. She wanted to move, and she's lived in a bunch of different parts, you know, a few different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And I just, this is.
You're just like, why? It's great.
She just can't explain it to me. I've
Yeah.
asked her straight out why.
Yeah.
She'll be like so mad at me if she watches this. She'll be like, well, why would you talk about that? But anybody that knows me, I will talk about anything.
Yeah, I got that already. And, how about talk about your dogs?
Oh my God. You don't want to do that. Just the loves of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apricot and pineapple.
That's their names?
Yeah.
Food names, of course.
Apricot and pineapple.
there's the
Apricot
color?
with 2 T's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with 2 T's, just to
Yeah.
make it cute, or with
That's just the way he is. And then pineapple, which everybody says, what do you call them?
yeah,
For short.
yeah.
You call them apple? Do you call them pineapple? No. Call them pineapple. Apricot and pineapple, and then my wife won't let me get any more, but I want coconut and lemon.
And they're Springer Spaniels?
Cocker Spaniels.
Cocker Spaniels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pardon me. There's a difference. What is it about the Cocker Spaniel that makes it so? I mean, you're in love, head over heels.
My uncle tells me they're the best,
Yeah.
and I agree with him.
Yeah.
The Springers are good looking too.
Yeah. Do you ever bring anything home for the dogs from the restaurant?
Absolutely, yeah. They eat like kings. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
very, very focused on food.
yeah.
So.
Well, nice to chat with you. Looking forward to this evening and getting in that kitchen. Wait till you see it. It's going to be gorgeous.
I hear great things. So we're going to have a bunch of great food and
Yeah, yeah.
and fun.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much. And
Great. Happy to be involved.
Yeah.
Happy to showcase some of what we do down here.
yeah, just don't call you chef, right?
I don't go by chef. Weirds me out.
Yeah.
I never think about it.
How-
It's like the strangest thing.
How
yeah.
can you be doing this for so long and just it's weird you out when people?
It's just never been my thing.
Yeah.
So,
Just Kevin. Kevin.
whatever.
Chef Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really think about it. Nobody asked me.
So, chefing for the rest of your life, you think, or at least till you retire?
Yeah, I tried to retire.
Yeah.
It just didn't go too good.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
Let's just say yes. at
Let's
this
just say
point.
yes. Yeah. well,
So-
well, I'll see you down at the. Will you be working at the bathing? beach?
Absolutely.
And what's it called?
It's called Beach House.
Beach House.
And we have a wonderful logo with a lobster that is wrapped around an ice cream cone.
And a lobster wrapped around.
Because we're going to be doing burgers and lobster rolls.
Now, how
and
about
fried
lobster ice
things.
cream? I actually have had that before.
I've
on
never
an
even
episode.
had that.
I've had it on an episode.
How was it?
It was not as interesting. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it was. I took it for the team. Yeah.
I have never had that.
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's
I've
interesting.
eaten just about everything. So.
You say interesting or creative, you know, it definitely is
Oh,
pushing the envelope, trying to have a
You're
lobster.
pushing that envelope, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kevin, Chef Kevin. Nice to chat with you. Let's leave on that note and have a pizza.